And so that can lead to a number of different issues. I mean, it's very vast. And
Yeah.
it's not when will you be exposed by mold to mold. It's usually, I mean, it's not if you will or won't. It's when.
Correct.
That's the deal.
Welcome to the Fusionary Health Podcast. It's me, your host, Dr. Shivani Gupta, and I have a very special guest in store for you today, a woman who I have known from my community in South Florida for many years. She's so respected, so revered, and I got to know her better a couple weeks ago at a conference, and I thought, gosh, I need to share her with my audience. I love when practitioners have different approaches to how we are going to deal with and really age gracefully with women's health. And so welcome to my podcast, Nicole Rothman.
Thanks for having me. I'm grateful to be here and hang out and chat today.
For sure.
It'd be great.
So Dr. Nicole, I have always looked at your practice as one of those practices where you take a very whole body approach. You really do look at the whole woman or man. I know everyone comes to your clinic. So will you kind of kick us off with your journey and what led you to practicing medicine, functional medicine, and everything that you bring into your clinical space?
Yes, this was definitely something I didn't choose. It kind of picked for me because it's just been it's like a lot of synchronicities and things that had to line up for me to end up here. I never in a million years would have thought I would be helping women over 40 naturally balance out their hormones. I was always a pediatric chiropractor. I had lots of kids in my practice, families. And I had a little lovely, nice practice, nothing horrible, but also I wasn't really that fulfilled because I had so much more knowledge to give. And this thing we all call functional medicine now is really what I had used in my own healing journey to overcome things like asthma, childhood diseases that were rearing their ugly head in my 20s, many hormone imbalances, like probably PCOS, but it wasn't labeled at that point. But severe menstrual cycles, like so painful that I couldn't even function for a whole day every month. So this went on and on for many years. And when I was in chiropractic school, crazy enough, somehow I ended up there because I was pre-med and I knew that wasn't the path for me. I was doing like the hospital volunteering, the EMT, and I saw all the people, they were so unhealthy and stressed out and eating out of vending machines that worked in the hospitals. And yes, doctors and nurses and staff. It didn't register. It just didn't register. And I knew that wasn't going to be the path because I knew it was a long path and I didn't feel it was the right path for me. So I somehow landed in chiropractic school. I had never even had chiropractic care. I just knew I wanted to help people. And they had these help people and they had words like, sports, health science, and nutrition. I was really into working out and eating healthy, although I was really clueless at that stage, very ignorant. And I just knew though. And so it was my heart. I want to help people. This seems like a good fit for what I want to do. And in the first few months, I get into a car accident. Now, I was on so many medications that I had one of those giant pill bottles that you change and have columns with all my drugs in it. And I saw everyone there like, these people are crazy. They're all saying the power that makes the body heals the body. Like, no, my pills heal me. I'm treating my symptoms and I think I'm okay. I wasn't looking at it consciously whatsoever. I was just like most people. You go to the doctor when you have symptoms, they label you, they treat you, and now you have this thing, and that's that. And this is you for the rest of your life. And so when I started on my chiropractic journey, my life drastically started to change. And I went on a major mission when I saw my periods normalize within a couple of months and no longer constipated, which I went for neck pain from a car accident. I went, oh, maybe there's another way. And so I've got into, of course, being in practice eventually. And so going back to the unfulfilled piece, the things that I realized through my journey was there's no magic bullet. There's no Band-Aid. There's no one size fits all. It took a very distinct type of combination of things to help me totally reverse and recover, get the weight off, clear my skin up, get my bowels healthy, my digestive, the hormone balance. And it didn't happen overnight because I didn't have a toolkit or a master plan or a mentor for that matter. I was just willing to try and do anything because once I knew I could heal, I went on this, I'm going to fix this. And of course I did. And so in my practice, people were lovely and I had a, nice run. They just wanted me to fix them. And the truth is, no one can fix you or heal you. You can only heal yourself. And so, chiropractic's a dynamic tool for nervous system interference. And I always recommend that. But
Yeah.
in this day and age, that's not enough to overcome the toxic burden, the emotional, the chemical, all the toxicities, the EMF toxicities, all of these things that are really affecting our ability to function at a cellular level. And
Sure.
so that became my path, and I got in a major trauma to my shoulder in
Mm.
2017, and I said, "This is it. I can't go on like this anymore." I was unable to really be a chiropractor. I had to have reconstructive surgery, so that was becoming more of a, do I wanna do this? Is it really what I've been happy with anyway? And so I actually created the dream, which was a functional medicine practice, reverse engineered everything, and, here we are, and that was 8.5 years ago. And
Wow.
so that is the journey. I thought I was gonna help kids because I always helped kids. That was my focus was gonna be kids with ear infections and autism and allergies because I wasn't autistic, but I had all the allergies and ear infections, the asthma, all the things that I had.
Sure.
I thought I would help with gut health and, all whatever. So when all these adults started finding me and I was able to kind of figure out this hormone thing, it it just became my passion. And then of course I'm in menopause now. So the last however many years, I've kind of said it's self-directed on myself too. Like I'm not going to live any way but optimal.
Sure. Sure.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
it.
it's so interesting. I didn't know that about you. Like I've known you in from a community standpoint here in South Florida. I tend to know the amazing practitioners. I end up meeting everyone due to my turmeric at least once or twice, and either we end up working together or we don't. If we don't work together, I just track all the cool people, but I don't get to become friends with you. So
Yeah.
it's what's been cool is with Fusionary, sometimes I get to like have lunch with amazing doctors like you on a monthly basis and keep learning about you. So I feel like I'm learning about you for the first time with my listener. And it's so interesting that you were practicing chiropractic medicine. It healed you so much, but then this shoulder trauma changed the game. It means you couldn't adjust people. And you were already in a pivotal moment in your career where you were like, I know I'm helping kids, I know I'm helping people, but I know there's another piece here
Yeah.
in the healing journey that I need to bring in. And so I have watched you over the years go and study. So I've seen you go to courses and conferences and things. And I was like, this Nicole is just like me. She loves to learn. And I was kind of jealous because I was like, I want to go learn what she's learning because I know the programs you're going to. I was like, I want to learn all this. This is incredible. The knowledge this woman must have that she's bringing into her clinical practice. So will you share with us, once you finish that journey, you were chiropractic, which I'm a big believer in chiropractic care and how healing it is. And I can start feeling in my body where I'm like, you need to go see your chiro. Like it's enough now. Don't you feel the stack up of issues happening? Like that's a sign, honey. And then secondly, as practitioners, we always end up evolving, I think, as we age, right? So I'm in perimenopause. That's an obsession of mine. Of course, I'm Indian and we hit menopause earlier. So I'm telling all my friends, you have to watch this documentary. You have to read this book. Don't you understand? This is coming for you. It's an endocrine brain shift. And it's funny because I also, being in this space of longevity, wellness, integrative medicine, which can intersect with biohacking, I've been going to a lot of those events and picking up the tools. And I basically have always loved being a science experiment to myself and figure out what works, what doesn't. And so when we met recently at a conference, I said, I'm doing HRT. It's awesome. And you said, I don't use HRT. And I was like, what? You're the only one then. You're the only one I know who is teaching menopause, helping with menopause. You're known as this menopause maven to help women. And you're not reaching into the HRT toolkit. That's fascinating. That's an imposing viewpoint. And that's when I shared with you, actually, I cannot take testosterone. And I don't know what to do because I really like the feeling, but I can't take it. So now I have to figure out how to generate it naturally. So let's dive into that topic. Once you finished, once you started helping people, I know you've had an integrative clinic for many years. So what were you helping people with initially? And then how did that guide you into creating what you now do for menopause? Because I'm sure you were like, well, we have to heal the gut, the talk. I mean, everything you've always done just applies to menopause, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah, it really, really does. But in my journey, as I understood all the neuro and chemical, the connections of all of the hormones with each other and with our nervous system, and how that does, land in the gut as well. I mean, there's just nothing is really separate. It was more of this like puzzle piece thing that came into my brain of when we really talk about root cause, right? Because the root cause can be so many things. A lot of people think gut health is the root cause, but gut health is usually the results of other things. It's not
Okay.
actually the root cause. So we need to go further upstream. And that could be something as simple as, you've had a mercury filling in your tooth when you were a kid. You might not even have it now, but that mercury is still up in your brain, or it's in your thyroid or your heart, right? It's doing something that's disruptive in your system.
Yeah.
Just this can be like the littlest thing. It could have been you were exposed to mold 10 years ago and your body doesn't naturally detox mold very well.
Sure.
It could be you're in a miserable relationship with somebody that doesn't hear you, see you, understand you, or it might not even be that big of a deal. It might just be like, um, you don't know how to resolve conflict in your relationship, and so you have all this emotional stress. It could be so many things. Like life is stressful.
Yeah.
And it's like the way that I always describe it is there's only so much room in your bucket.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It could be anything. It could be the littlest thing, like somebody said something to you once and you never let it go and it was really negative and it's in your bucket. Like you didn't resolve it. The toxicity from our food, our water, our air. And then there's things like, insulin resistance. It's a massive toxicity it's creating.
Yeah.
All the cortisol drive, like the thing is about cortisol just going to the adrenals right away. That doesn't fix why your adrenals are wigged out, right? The why, we have to go further.
Sure.
And so when people hear that we don't go for, it's not that I'm against, I believe deeply in using bioidentical hormone treatment for people that need that quality of life, and that sometimes you do have to do that in order to get them to do the things that they need to do, right? Like in order to heal. But
Yeah.
most people, when you start addressing things from what we call our 5 pillars, starting with
Mm.
how do we use nutrition to reduce inflammation very quickly? How can we start detoxing the body, preparing the cells, getting them healthier and stronger so you can detox? There's quite a few layers in the detox area. I would say that's probably one of our biggest focuses that we address because toxins interrupt your hormones. That's it, period.
Yeah.
Think about women. I don't know about you, but I have makeup on.
Yeah.
I have stuff in my hair, as natural as
Okay.
that stuff is,
Yeah.
it's not perfect, right? I use the 7 toxin-free nail polish, but I still use nail polish, and we have hundreds more toxins per day compared to the men. So we're
Yeah.
going
It's
to
true.
have way more hormone disruption than they are.
Wow. Yeah, it's true. It's true. We have so much in terms of skincare, makeup, body care, hair care, all that stuff that we use. Then all of us are surrounded by the cleaning products, air
Yeah.
quality, water quality.
I would
And one thing we connected on at the conference we were just at in
Yeah.
Arizona was mold
Yeah.
and mycotoxins. And
Yeah.
because I'm in 2025 is my year of mold,
Yeah.
I feel like everyone has mold. Every client who comes to me now, I'm like, we need to do a mold test.
Yeah.
Everything you're naming sounds like mold. And I didn't realize mold can cause estrogen dominance and I have the specific mycotoxin that
Cause
can
low
do that.
testosterone as well, and people that have trouble with testosterone, it's often used, their body hates it.
Wow.
Their body hates it because mold suppresses MSH, and that can lead to a lot of different, which is another hormone. And so that can
Sure.
lead to a number of different issues. I mean, it's very vast. And
Yeah.
it's not when will you be exposed by mold to mold. It's usually, I mean, it's not if you will or won't, it's when. That's the deal. But so like when we talk about detox, like one cell of the body, this is what I do with my practice members. I draw them a picture of the cell.
Yeah.
And you think about the cell membrane on the outside, the things have to come in and then things get used and then exiting the waste, right? The toxic waste essentially. And so if that cell membrane is broken and inflamed from too many toxins, too many stressors, it's going to break down. And now the cell literally is broken. So it doesn't matter how much hormone you throw in from the outside,
Got it.
whether it be thyroid, insulin, estrogen, progesterone, it doesn't matter. The cell is not able to use it. That's why so many people come to us. That stuff didn't work for me.
Sure.
Or I'm on thyroid hormone. My labs are normal, but I feel like I have all the symptoms. I'm exhausted. I have mental sluggishness. I can't poop. I'm gaining weight. My hair is falling out. Well, your body doesn't seem to be producing the type that you need from what they're giving you, or your cells can't use it. And so we hone in on the cell function, the cell healing. And that's when we see the body also come out of that cell danger response. The cells calm down. And now, when our stress calms down internally, our adrenals have the capacity to make the hormones they're supposed to make in menopause, which is estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. We do make hormones.
Hmm.
We're told we don't make them anymore.
Yeah, we are told.
Yes, but it's not enough to have babies or periods, okay? It's enough to be alive, though. It's supposed to be that way. So why is somebody's body distracted so much
Yeah.
that that's shut down so that we're not making it at all, right?
Well, it's an interesting point. Let's pause there for a sec.
Yes.
We're being told
Mhm.
you don't make hormones. You are just like, you went off a cliff, boom, and now you're a zero hormone maker. And thus, we have to reach into this bucket. It's mandatory to go pick up the hormones you need to put back in your body. That's the implication of the
Mhm.
way it's being taught, especially online. And a friend of mine recently said, do you see all this propaganda? Do you see how hard we're being sold these tools? And I said, well, that's the problem in wellness. We get real excited about the new shiny tools and we forget that ancient wisdom, what you and I both teach, ancient wisdom is honest, true wisdom about what will work for the longevity of your health. And new tools come along and should be taken with a grain of salt. And I'm a believer in that too, of like, really be conscious about what you're doing. And so in my case, last year, I had zero progesterone. I was like, okay, well, your postmenopausal progesterone helps with sleep. You know, you need to sleep better if you want to function at this current level you're going at. I'll take progesterone. Okay, I'll bring that one on. Testosterone. I'm low in testosterone. I've actually always been low in testosterone, and I've known that. But I was like, oh, I want to take that one too. You're telling me I'm going to fall off the cliff anyway. Let's bring it all in now. Let's fill the bucket back up with the hormones. Testosterone was not for me. The injection caused really what I call crop circles. One day I will post the full photo. It was like 3 huge circles on the back of my head. Hair went missing. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go bald. I freaked out.
Yeah,
Then I was like,
scary.
okay,
It's scary.
really
Hormones are
scary.
really serious. It's made very light of right now. It's
Yeah, everyone's
a
like, just
big
pop
deal.
it.
Yeah.
Just take it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And I see why, because it's that instant
And it does
gratification.
help. Like I said, it does help. I'm not saying they don't help people.
Yeah, but it's funny because all my friends and family and everyone's looking at me like we're waiting to see what happens to Shivani because she's our first pioneer trying all the weird ideas and she's getting a mixed result. Like I am very honest online. If I don't get a perfect result, I'm here to share. I tried it, it failed. Now I have to find a new way. But I have one of those more sensitive bodies. It's like one thing at a time, and not
Right.
everything is for you. And so, how do you kind of look at hormone replacement therapy? Or truly, let's take a step back. How do you look at women's hormone health as we age? Because what you just said is we're meant to have a little bit of a decline. We're not meant to supercharge, superpower, superdose necessarily as we age,
Yeah.
which I think is a beautiful perspective.
Well, there's two things before I answer your question, because I believe in pro-aging. Right now, we are in a world that wants to do anti-aging. Everything is anti-aging.
Yeah.
And so I have come to this conclusion that I want to be pro-aging and I want to teach women to be pro-aging with me because I'm supposed to age. I'm supposed to have lines on my face from laughing and talking and smiling.
Yeah.
And I've had wrinkles on my forehead since I'm in my 20s, because I used to go in the stupid tanning bed when I was in my 20s, early 20s. Oh, I was in that tanning bed a lot. Had a very good tan. No tan lines, of course, but I mean, I did that damage a long time ago.
Sure.
However, I'm not it's like part of me. I'm what it is what it is. So I look at that. I look at things from the lens of how can we be pro-aging, but I wanna go back to a couple of things that you said,
Yeah.
because I think it's really important to talk about. First of all, I have this philosophy, and when everybody's doing something, that I should go the other way.
Sure.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know if I'm just a rebel or what. However, it makes me nervous when everybody is starting to do things. I start to think, what is the message that we're actually being told?
Sure.
Because the message is this ongoing message. And I'm sorry, it's Big Pharma's message. This is not a holistic minded message. The message is I need something from outside myself to be whole. And I can't be healthy, strong, have a good sex drive, a strong brain, a thin body, fit in my clothes, or be anything without those prescriptions. And
Right.
when they start saying the benefits outweigh the risks, I've only heard that come from Big Pharma. We heard it during COVID. They got lots of people taking vaccines, and know how many people are regretting that now. And, so I always take that little bit of a skeptical viewpoint because it makes me uncomfortable when everybody starts going in one direction of what is the real agenda here, because most people are not using bioidenticals. They're using pharmaceutical synthetic progestins and estrogen that are going to be covered by insurance and things. And there is a push to let's get everything covered.
Sure.
But that's the broken healthcare system voice, the system that wants us sick. Sorry, makes more money off of us when we're not well, whether it be
Absolutely.
insurance because you get higher premiums, or big pharma because they want you buying their products, period. They're
Ever.
well aware women have the market share. They're not stupid. And women don't feel well. And women and people want a quick fix. Unfortunately, it'll always be a lot easier to jump to the weight loss shot or the quick fix or this or that than it will be to do the work so that you can have an actual transformation in your life, which is what people really want and need,
Correct.
especially at midlife, because they haven't fulfilled their purpose. And so they think being thin is going to do that and make them happy, but it's not. They have to step into this new space where they have the absolute potential to put themselves first for the first time in their lives and step up and take charge and say, it's time for me. And I don't need some band-aid. I can do this on my own and have a true inside out transformation. That's what we do. So I just wanted to first set the tone for that and of,
Yeah.
why I feel so strongly about this. And I'm willing to take a beating for it from all of my fellow colleagues that don't like when I talk about this, but that's what
Yeah.
I see in my practice every day. And I'm okay not going with the mainstream. I'm okay with that. And secondly, you brought up that your progesterone is low. And at the beginning of our conversation today, you said, I'm always going, 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 going. And I'm going to tell you right now, the way you make cortisol, which is your anti-stress hormone, is
Sure.
by progesterone. Your body converts progesterone into cortisol. So if your progesterone is too low, you need to
I
be
can get.
thinking about managing your rushing women, busy lady, business that you're doing, because it doesn't serve us now in perimenopause. This is what I can tell younger women. They're not going to
Yeah.
listen because everyone has to suffer before we change for some reason.
True.
However, if you have daughters, this is what
Yeah.
you can show them now is how you put yourself first and take time for yourself and you don't run yourself down, because that's why your progesterone is it, and so as we go through perimenopause it naturally drops. If it's dropping faster than estrogen, that makes estrogen dominance,
Right.
and now we're going to have a problem. So
Right.
thinking about how can we get the body to do what it's supposed to do. Same with testosterone, right? Like when we're really highly stressed, you're not thinking about doing it. You're not in the mood.
Yeah.
It's because cortisol suppressing these basically is an easy way to look at it. And
Sure.
so we have to take a look at ourselves and our habits. I'll tell you the one thing that helps me when I
Mhm.
went into menopause and I was having hot flashes for 6 weeks and doing all the things, I'm detoxing, I have all the tools, I exercise, I eat super low inflammatory, I never eat sugar, things like that. And I barely drink. Anyhow, 21-minute meditation midday between 1 and 2:30 before my afternoon appointments. I shut everything off and I go away and I close my eyes and set an alarm. I sometimes doze off, but I don't. It's like 10 minutes, like a power nap kind of a thing. But I do a meditation actually, but I lay down to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't do a sit up like in the morning, I sit up, but I lay down and I take a little extra time away from all the computers and lights, away from my team, my family, anybody that needs me, I'm gone. And
Mm.
they know it. And it's a game changer. I mean, sometimes it's like a little shift that can make all the difference. Hot flashes went away.
Wow. Wow. It's a big deal. I mean, everything you just said about hormones makes so much sense. If we're going to be in fight or flight, the body is not in rest and digest.
Yes.
It's like basic.
Yes.
But we want to think of it as no, I went off the cliff because I've crossed midlife or I'm in midlife. And thus I need this external source. I completely agree with you. I am actually one of those people where I was in a conference called Mind Valley years ago, and I'll never forget it. It keeps coming up in my mind. Jay Shetty was speaking, and he showed an image, and he goes, "How many people see the world that all of your connections are like this?" And I raised my hand, and I was the only person. I looked around like, "Oh my God, why did I raise my hand?" And he looks at me and he goes, "Why do you think that way?" And I said, "Literally, that's how I see my world. My world is a web, and everyone is connected, and it's so interesting how they connect." And then he asked for the second image and everyone raised their hand, or it was the other way around. I think he probably asked everyone first. And then for the second one, I raised my hand and realized I was the only one. And I that's been true my whole life. We hit pandemic. I had pretty alternative views in pandemic where I was like, curcumin's really effective for inflammation and cytokine storms and it's antiviral.
Yeah.
And my family looked at me like, you better sit down and be quiet. And you better not say that online. You better really be measured. And post pandemic, I'm like, hi, everyone. Turmeric, ancient plant medicine is still very valid for, and now I can say it,
Yeah.
immune support, like all these things. So I had a pretty contrarian view through pandemic where I thought we are all sovereign beings. We all have this ability to build really great health. Now, are there a lot of people who did get sick and were harmed and there's long COVID, there's a lot of bad things that came out? Sure. But in this moment, can we all learn from what just happened? Can we learn from that and say, hey, if in 2020 that can happen, what's possible in 2025? What's possible in 2030? And how should I behave myself knowing that my body, I have control over this and this body has the ability to heal and each lifestyle choice I make is going to add up to how I stand and the position I'm in when the next thing comes along. And so what I hear you saying is, look, there are a lot of tools we have, and it's our own lifestyle we're building with toxic burden that's causing the issue. And I completely agree with you. I wrote a whole book on inflammation that's coming out
Mhm.
next year. And that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
we're underestimating what life and the toxic burden is doing to us. So you got into your second pillar, which is detox, which we're so aligned in. So
Yeah.
continue down that line of
Yes.
pillar.
So of course, hormone balancing. And listen, we use supplements. We use our tools to accelerate the healing process. But we also want the body to take over and not to have to use so many. I have people that come in and they're literally on one of everything. I'm like, we can be doing this much more efficiently.
Sure.
And they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to do the research. They're trying and they're so confused. They don't know how to apply it to themselves. And sometimes it's really thinking about it this way. Um, I can go online and Google how to do my taxes, but I'm probably going to hate the result that I get actually from doing them myself because it's
Totally.
not my wheelhouse. It's not my knowledge. I am clueless. Just trust the people that do those things for me. And we have to realize that when it comes to our health, yes, it's wonderful that the veil of white coats has opened and we can have access to information on our own. I think that's a beautiful, amazing thing.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for just one person to just figure it out and put it together. Um, and I don't just mean me. I mean, there's a lot of professionals out there, and our brains work in a very specific way by applying the knowledge to the history and what you tell us and what your life is like. And nobody, we've worked with thousands of people at this point, have I ever seen the same labs or the same like protocols or ideas of what this person needs compared to this one. Like, yeah, we can start with a basic foundation and framework and we build on to there. And so, yes, fitness is the next pillar after that. And a lot of people come to us, they're too inflamed, they have too much pain and no energy, not enough sleep. So we don't even go with that from the start. People
Sure.
can heal without exercise. I hate saying that because
Wow.
people will take what I say and say, I don't have to exercise and I'll still be healthy. And that's not true. That's
Right.
not what I said. You can heal, meaning you can get more sleep, better energy, less pain and inflammation. And then you need to get on it because if you don't move it, you lose it. I mean, that's the reality. And after age 35, we start losing muscle every year because we do make less of our like growth hormone and other hormones that may help us maintain that muscle. That's a natural process. But that's where I do believe we can use a little anti-aging. Let's fight against that because the issue with the losing muscle is we are living longer, but people are incapacitated and nobody wants to lose their independence. So we do need to put the muscle on as a number one priority. Then, yes, you can walk. For women, sorry, over 40, any high intensity things, for most of you, that's not going to do very well unless
No.
it's like a 10-minute hit thing and that's it. And that's like once or twice a week. I don't really recommend high intensity most of the time. It's going to cause too much stress. But the more gentle stuff, dancing, yoga, walking is all fine. But as long as you're prioritizing all the muscle groups, especially the bigger groups, so that you can make your testosterone, that's
Exactly.
going to help make testosterone too. So, and then the fifth pillar is mentoring because there is this idea that we have to be all on our own and figure it out and heal ourselves. And that was me. It was really hard. I would say it took at least 150 times longer than it needed to because
Sure.
I was just throwing things against the wall and seeing what would stick. And it actually, I don't know about you, but I have so many mentors in my life. I'm actually here in a
Sure.
hotel and I am at a conference of where there are mentors here. And I've worked with many, many, whether it be business or relationship or fitness, and so many different types. And the fastest way to get to where you want to go is get someone that knows how to get you there as fast as possible. And so you can not stress about it because it's just another stress and let it go and give it over and give you the tools and the support and hold you accountable to your goals and to, making the things because healing is not always easy. It can be hard. We can get rashes and reactions and we can go through things like we were mentioning earlier,
Yeah.
that makes it not so easy and it can be scary and confusing because we're also taught to fear when our body tells us things instead of embracing and having faith that our body knows what to tell us to give us the messages we're supposed to actually be honing in to listen to. So most people are scared. They need that support. So those are the five pillars: nutrition, detox, fitness, hormone balancing, and mentoring. And I would say the most foundational of those is detox. And that includes gut health and things and layered in there. But
Sure.
like I said earlier, you won't get the gut health right if you don't get the toxins out. You got to get the
Absolutely.
toxins out.
Absolutely. And I love what you said there about mentorship because, again, a lot of the people around me in my world, close friends, close family, they all think I'm crazy because they're like, why are you paying so much for doctors? Why'd you study so much? Why'd you spend so much time studying if you're going to pay all these people? And I'm like, do you understand the level of concierge care you should have available to you if you're going to start injecting crazy stuff into your body?
Yeah.
I remember calling the NP saying, this is insane that we think all of America can just start injecting themselves. You trust us to be clean and sterile? I went to a doctor's office and I told the resident, I was like, you're going to train me. This is a process. We can't just assume everyone knows sterility. And I definitely was not going to do it in the right way to inject testosterone in myself.
Yeah.
Later, I did get a rash. I was itching for a week. Then they're like, oh, yeah, that formula is made with seed oils. Maybe that's it. And I was like, why would you give me something with seed oils? Do you know that I teach about inflammation, you crazy? So when they reformulated rapeseed oil, by then I was like, you know what? I'm not putting this garbage in my body. My body said no, and I listened to my body. And so part of me thinks that we underestimate the importance of mentorship because we have Google and ChatGPT, and we think that it's actually got the information and knowledge of how to manage us. And we have completely forgotten that we are completely individual. Like
Right.
I am very different than you are. I am an Indian born woman. I am only 5 feet tall. I'm born in Houston, but I'm vegetarian and gluten free. And whatever my crazy life experiences are with my hundreds of antibiotics I took,
Yeah.
that makes Shivani and her gut health one way.
That's right.
You, my husband, born in India, sturdy as heck, unaffected by anything we do anywhere. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll eat the food off the streets of India. And I'm looking at him like, you will just die. How can you do that? But we are so different. And like I said, I'm in a year of mold. I'm the only one who's been affected.
Mhm.
And I found it fascinating. I was like, wow, okay. As a practitioner, you can sometimes compartmentalize and say, okay, that result's horrible. 14 mycotoxins. I'm going to have to do some work for that. But guess what? I'm not a mycotoxin expert. I'm not an expert on what it's going to take to dig myself out of that hole. And so all year I kept looking for the right practitioner. I wish I had also met you earlier because I didn't know you went through that journey as big as I am. I'm ripping up my house. I'm about to rip my AC units out at the current pace. I'm like, I'm going to go excavate fully in PPE and fix this problem. But I'm hiring people because I know better. But I had to bring in the right team.
Yeah.
Because certainly I'm not going to every conference. I'm not learning everything. I haven't studied peptides and health and mycotoxins and
Yeah.
all the things you need at the level you need it. Now, could I do it myself? Sure. Me and Dr. Google could sit there and try to navigate how to get Shivani back online out of mycotoxins. But do I want to waste the time, the effort, and the potential punishment on the body, the detriment, while we allow the toxic burden and everything to take hold? No. But like you said, sometimes you have to look at the problem and say, you know what, it's actually a good thing. What I learned this
Yeah.
year was, wow, your lifestyle held you pretty well. Look at you. You're doing a good job. You actually had no symptoms, but the select handful you did, you thought were perimenopause. Okay. Now we've got the work to do. And so when you talk about detox and gut, it sounds to me like that's like the key centerpiece of the work you do, because that's where the work is for the patient. So when it comes to menopause, perimenopause, what are some of those key things you want women to know and understand are things that you would address with them that they may not be thinking about?
Well, a lot of it does boil down to everyday life. And, yes, making changes to what we put on our bodies and use in our homes. You had mentioned that before. Of course, that makes a big difference. All the candles and the Febreze and the car fresheners and the laundry detergent. I mean, when I walk in the morning, some houses I'll pass and I smell it, whatever, that particular one that is so strong. I want to throw up. I want to vomit. It is so disgusting to me. I don't understand how people can tolerate that. And it is just so and the perfume is horrendous for our hormones. So just making those small shifts, that does help. But the problem is you really need a proper detox process because most of these deeper problematic toxins, they're the ones our body can't get it out. So that they go in the brain and deeper in the tissues. And we usually, I don't say always, but we often start with heavy metal work because, a lot of people like to do parasites and candida and all this other stuff, but the heavy metal work is how those guys stay around. Like if you don't get rid of the metals, you're going to keep on having reinfections. So we feel like that's like a lot of the first piece, but first we have to get the cell healthy so it can
Right.
handle, and we want to get that cell membrane stronger and work to kind of nourish. And what we've learned since COVID is even now some people now are having a harder time even doing that.
Correct.
because they've taken so many new vaccines into their body and they had so many new stresses, or they're working from home and that's a different type of thing, or whatever change
Yeah.
they experienced. And so we're having to do a lot more drainage, meaning the lymphatic system has to be dealt with early,
Mm.
earlier, because people are having trouble detoxing. They're having trouble even starting the process, which we call a preparation phase. They're having trouble with the preparation because
Yeah.
they're even more toxic than they were 5 years ago. This has been something we have really noticed in the last 3 years, particularly, and
Yeah.
so we know what changed in that time. And so we're just
Correct.
making a lot of assumptions. Are there more electronics? Yes, we're more burdened heavily with EMFs than ever. Everyone wears the watch and they have this and they have that and they have
Yeah.
sleep
Mhm.
number, the beds that are electric. Like there's just constant, nonstop bombarding of electricity. And that will stop you from properly detoxing in your sleep if you're surrounded by all kinds of lamps and alarm clocks on your phone and your watch and all this stuff all over the place. It is
Yeah.
super toxic. And so it's realizing, like, oh, through working with so many people, well, a lot of them need this extra stuff along with that. So, we've learned to slow down with a lot of people and take their time and make sure they're ready. But then we work to the deeper tissues. And of course, there's things like glyphosate we're dealing with in our food supply. It's like really hard to avoid unless you're super conscientious about it.
Sure.
The internal toxins, like I said, just normal waste. Think about your car, right? I love this way of looking at it because everyone gets it. Like you put gas in the car, you drive your car, and then there's exhaust out the tailpipe, right? But what would happen if you stuffed a bunch of socks in the tailpipe?
I don't even know what would happen to the car, but I'm sure
Like,
it's
think
bad.
about where is that stuff going to go? It's going to go back into
Inside.
the engine and it's going to damage it.
Yeah.
Right? So when we have these cells and they're broken, they're damaged, the toxins can't get out. Now what's happening, our own waste. This is just from normal chemical reactions inside the cell that can't exit. They're damaging the mitochondria. How many people are exhausted?
Everyone.
Everyone's exhausted. Well, guess what? That's a mitochondrial issue. Cancer, that's a metabolic mitochondrial issue. All of these major diseases, they're at the cell level. That's where we're seeing it. That's where the
Mhm.
DNA is. So the toxins are damaging the genes, they're turning on bad genes. So if we can get to that first, now we have the potential for when we have, put in good food, our body can use it.
Well,
Now
right.
we have the potential for more energy so we can get exercise and our sleep and wake cycles can be healthier. It really spills and feeds into everything, but it also enables us to be able to use our hormones because at the cell level, that hormone, that membrane has hormone receptors. So if the hormone receptor is broken, it's like a key that can't fit in the lock. Like you have the wrong key. No, the lock was smashed with the hammer and now the key won't fit. And so the body can't take them up. And these are chemical messengers of how the cell is supposed to perform and behave. So
Right.
you can throw in, like I said this earlier, from the outside, all this stuff, but that doesn't mean you're going to see a difference either.
Right.
So
And it sounds
that's why
to
it's
me
so
like
important to address that detox piece. It's not just a cleanse. It's not, a juice cleanse or a smoothie diet. This is like a real process of healing that has to happen.
correct. And it sounds like it, it's so interesting. In Ayurvedic medicine, we believe in doing a big annual detox. That's the big oil change we want everyone to do.
Yes.
Because I don't believe people will do it, because I typically don't find everyone ready to give me 3 weeks to really focus. I broke it down into simpler pieces for them. I said, at the intersection of seasons on the circadian seasonal clock, give me 1 week. But you're right to prepare for detox, which is actually the phase I'm in right now for mycotoxins, is like you actually have to address all nutrient deficiencies. And the majority of us have a lot of nutrient deficiencies, the B vitamins, the D vitamins, magnesium, we're all inflamed, vitamin C. So, like, a mycotoxin protocol, found it fascinating, starts with just basic vitamins that we should all have at an ideal level. And I kept talking to the doctors, like, guys, come on, let's go. Suck it all out of me. let's do the big treatments. And everyone has stopped me about 10 times and said, no, we have to rebuild the cellular health that got damaged. And by the way, we're not going to teach you much because I'm a practitioner. They're like, we know you know about non-toxic lifestyle. I'm like, yes, I know. But truly, we all need to review that topic time to
Yes.
time because
Yes.
we can all get into the habit of convenience. So it might be that, you know what, I just used whatever nail polish was at the salon. That was easier rather than reordering my cleaner organic one. Or maybe some cleaning products got in here off Instacart and that was just easier and that's what we're using this year. But each toxic burden, like you said at the beginning in the cup, can add up. And all of a sudden, what if you're at 95% full on your toxic burden? Your poor cells are like, I stop. I'm not detoxing anything.
Well,
We're
the issue
already
is
at
most
war.
people are overflowing or they're right at the tippy top. And so the littlest thing spills over and they get, I mean, you hear the word overwhelmed constantly now. Constantly. Everyone is overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That's what overwhelm is. The bucket is overflowing. It is spilling everywhere and it's creating symptoms, problems, can't even handle, and they have no resilience to any stress anymore, is really what that is.
Wow. So we're building a society that lacks resilience, stress resilience, health resilience.
Mm-hmm.
And then imagine what that does for the brain and the mood and the mind. So
Yeah.
we just lack total resilience. And then we wonder why this younger generation, my friends and I all have teenagers right now. We're like, what are we going to do with this generation? They lack any resilience at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you help
They'll,
them?
they'll solve it. That's the thing, right? I always look at I always look at the generational thing as they're going to have problems that they need to solve. That's all that that means. They'll solve it. We're not going to be able to think of solutions for them, but they will. And
Yeah.
so things will innovate. Like they will innovate to do that. I do believe they'll find ways. They're
Yeah.
not doomed. Our kids will be okay, but that's why we have problems and challenges so we can innovate and grow and learn. And that's what I did in my own career. I had to
Sure.
innovate. I had to change things. I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't happy. And then I saw a deeper need that wasn't being met. And the biggest thing with menopausal women that we hear is feeling ignored and dismissed. And, your labs are fine. Sorry, you're fine. Or go to the head doctor, go to a psychologist, psychiatrist, go on an antidepressant because there's nothing here. And they're being really misunderstood and really misled. And I think that's where that whole HRT wave now is coming in to say, no, it doesn't have to be this way. And so, yes, that's a nice thing, but I just use extreme caution specifically with synthetic stuff
Sure.
um, to, find ways. And no, it's not the least expensive way that I'm talking about. No, it's not the easiest, fastest way, but it is the best way to achieve wellness and optimal health and what you call, and I would also call longevity. Because real longevity comes from the inside, not from a potion or cream or shot.
Right. Right. No, I love that you brought that up. It's one of those things we are in modern day times and we are oftentimes going so fast that we don't want to pause and we don't want to build true health. But what you're talking about is the true health and healing that the body, that's the state we want to be in.
Yeah.
We want to hold that, but we have to learn how to build it. We have to learn for ourselves, where is the body a little bit too overburdened? And where do we need to let go of that burden? Where can we detox for our individual self to be our healthiest? And then guess what? You very much might not need bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. You certainly won't need a shot to cause weight loss temporarily.
Yeah.
And then you can go forward and maintain that result for the next 40 years. Wouldn't you rather pause now and maintain the result than just take
Yeah.
something that's going to keep, I mean, for me, as I look at it, I'm like, well, will I need more of this as I age? Like, how does this work exactly? What is the natural way to get it? Because that's where my mind always goes. So I appreciate that you have this contrarian, what we would call integrative view in this moment of life, where you're saying, hey, I'm not signing up for that yet. I can talk to you about it and where it fits into your plan. But let's actually figure out how to get you healthy.
Yeah.
So you feel and are the way you want to be.
And so if after we do all that,
Yeah.
right, we still need something, then I'm okay with that because at least we're now supporting this process We usually would need way less anyway if we need it. And, we do want the body to go through the normal changes that it needs to take. There's some cool research on the brain on how the lowered amounts of estrogen actually make a neurological, like almost like pruning of the neurons in your brain to create a new version of you. And that this creates this wisdom. They call it the grandma theory or something. I don't know the exact terminology. It's like the grandmother theory,
Yeah.
based on how our ancestors would like take care of the kids, the little ones, and they would tell stories and they would be engaged with them, and like that wisdom would be passed on, and how that actually allowed the human
Right.
survival to happen.
It's
There's some cool, interesting anthropological studies and things now, but Lisa Mosconi talks about what happens in the brain during menopause, and how can we look at this as a positive step, because society sees it so negative that's another disease that has to be treated.
right.
How can we become more into our own personal power and wisdom, feel confident, beautiful, sexy, and strong and in control of our health, and know what that looks like too?
I love
So I feel that's why I call it pro aging.
this.
And yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be interesting to see as they start all these different initiatives and they try studying. There's only, I think, 5% of all studies ever done have been on women.
I know.
Like
Isn't that
it's an
insane?
absurd gap in our knowledge.
Yeah.
So we're just going with what we see working. That's what we're doing in our practice. What is helping people? And there's a lot of people that are afraid of hormone replacement. They've had cancer or
Absolutely.
family members. They will not entertain it whatsoever anyway. Or they've tried it and they had negative reactions like how you had to the testosterone. And so they're scared they're not going to go back that way. Like they put on a bunch of weight or their hair fell out, or they got super moody and I've had people tell me they felt like they wanted to kill themselves on it. Like crazy stories. And so we need other options.
Absolutely. We do need other options, and we need the practitioners who will work with us in detail and help us discern like what is the issue. I always tell everyone, if you don't have a stool test on yourself, you have no idea what's going on. If you haven't done like a detailed functional hormone panel, you have no idea. And unfortunately, everyone's like, "Well, why do you have to pay for that?" I'm like, "Well, this is a practitioner who's actually going to spend a lot of time with you. They're going to get to know you, and they're actually going to point things out. Maybe you don't want to hear them about, hey, Shivani, it's cortisol, honey. That's the issue." And it's like, yeah, actually, that's true.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking all of your wisdom over time and distilling it and understanding, oh, I know your template. I know what this is. I can tell you pretty clearly. And when you sign up with a practitioner like you, hopefully you're ready to hear it,
Yeah.
because these are real changes that we have to make
Yeah.
if we want true, vibrant health.
Yeah.
Otherwise, true, vibrant health is not going to come from just one more thing that we pop every single day. And I'm a pretty big pill girl. I own a supplement
I know.
company. So I'm into the supplements. And but I
Yeah.
also think they have a time and a place.
Yeah.
No, there's no reason we should have to take a supplement every single day forever.
Right.
That's just a sign of, what are you not doing the work?
Yeah.
Because they're a support tool on the path to having the health and longevity we deserve. So thank you for coming on here, Nicole. I love
Absolutely.
talking to you.
Absolutely. And, just on that note,
Yeah.
because people do struggle to invest in themselves, especially women who don't usually put money towards themselves. Like we work so hard and, maybe we save it, we put it here, get our kids braces, we do all these things, but women often will struggle in truly investing in themselves and parking some of that hard-earned money in themselves to be able to, have the life they want. And just because we have insurance, I look at that as the thing we want to leave in the drawer and never have to use, because what it's really, really good for are the big crises. So we don't
Yeah.
want to use that. So what that means is it's really our responsibility to have our health and wellness in place because insurance doesn't pay for actually those things. They just don't. And so when you do things like labs that are outside that model, it's an investment. It's an investment in understanding your body, which is empowerment for you to have the knowledge. And now you know, okay, I can see where it's like going on a weight loss journey without getting on the scale. Like you don't have a direction, you have no goal, you don't know where you are, where you need to be. So, those are things that people do sometimes struggle. And I always say this, I'll just end with this part
Yeah.
about this is if you're concerned about like the price of something, you need to start looking at what it's already costing you. Because
True.
the reality of illness is there's nothing that you will have in your life. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's your kids, your grandkids, your retirement, you want to travel, you want to grow in your career, be a business, whatever, mogul,
Yeah.
like us. But it's like you can't enjoy it if you feel crappy. You cannot
Totally.
live your fullest life. You cannot have all of the enjoyment that you deserve. Health should be your primary investment. People buy houses for where we live.
Yeah.
You can't get anything for less than like, I don't think you could get a hole in the wall for $500,000 anymore.
Yeah.
They'll never pay that off, but they will take a mortgage for 30 years and work to pay that. But then the thing that makes the money to pay the mortgage
Mm.
isn't
Your
being
health.
taken care of. That makes absolutely no sense. So we have
True.
to change our mindset about investing in our health. Just because we're not used to it doesn't mean you don't do it. It means you need to step up and start shifting that around because no one's going to come save you. You got to save yourself.
It's true. Very true. Thank you for that. I was going to ask, do you have any final thoughts?
Because I couldn't leave that after we
Yeah.
mentioned it. And I understand. And we work with people as best that we can so they could get the care they need. That's for sure. Because if you really want it, we'll do what we can to get it to you. And we understand. We do know
Yeah.
that it's a hard thing for people to overcome, and they get in their own way with that. But
Certainly.
that's what we need to do. Is with hiring coaches and mentors and people, it's like if I put in this and I get all of this, well, okay, that was worth it.
Exactly. Exactly. And that is the dividend we get from
Yes,
investing in our
that's
health,
right.
right? What do we get? And why am I focusing so much on my health? Because I want brain, mood, energy. I want to stay as vibrant as I've always been. I
Yeah.
want to be able to go to the gym and lift and feel so good. I don't want to
Yeah.
sacrifice any of that.
I
But I
yeah.
also think it's so interesting your viewpoint on, yeah, actually, let's talk about pro aging. We were in South Florida. South Florida is the land of anti-aging. Every time you look around, everyone's even more plastic and the
Mhm.
lips are even bigger. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't sign up for that. I actually sign up for natural health, natural beauty, like living a natural, healthy lifestyle, partially because of what we teach. Of course, we know the toxic burden of things, but also like let's navigate in a pro aging mindset, which I really love as a key message today.
Good.
And I completely agree with you. We have to invest. If you don't invest now, you will pay later. And I've seen that my whole life. My entire family is diabetic,
Oh,
and that last quarter of life is pretty horrific
yeah.
when you look at it. And I don't want that at all.
Yeah.
So I believe in fix it all now so that you can have a healthy life for your longevity.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Nicole, will you share where everyone can find you and learn more about everything you do? I know you have a book you've written. You're the menopause maven. You're doing so many great things, and I know how well studied you are because I watch what you do. So, will you share where everyone can find you?
Yeah, my website is drnicole.com, drnicole.com. It's so funny. My name on the screen, I'm like, where's the rest of my name? Usually
Yeah,
it says Dr. Nicole Rothman. I must have been
yeah,
on someone else's thing and I had my
yeah.
name. But I'm Dr. Nicole Rothman. We're in Delray Beach, but we actually work with people anywhere.
Oh,
We have
it's
a virtual practice. I'm on Instagram, Dr. Nicole Rothman, Facebook, all the places you can find us. But the easiest way to get information is going right to our website, drnicole.com. You can get on a call with us through there. We do webinars regularly where we do really, give out information. And then, we do lots of like, hey, if you want to talk to us, we make it really easy for you after that to get on our calendar just to see if we can help you. That's our goal is just who needs help, who wants it, we're here. So, and then we go from there. But I did write a
Wow.
book. It's on Amazon. It's an Amazon bestseller, Awaken Wellness, Taking Back the Power to Control Your Own Health. And so I have another one that it's stirring in me because that one was not focused on menopause. And I really, really need to get another one out, but it's not out yet. So that's what I call my blueprint, that one. It lays out the pillars and it goes deeper into each pillar than I was able to today. So it's helpful.
That's awesome. I love that. I think we have so much we need to learn about really detoxing and winning at our health. And so I just really appreciate that you are so well researched. I know you went through your own mold journey. So if anyone needs mold help, she has
And
the
yeah,
vendors.
metals and my other stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of
Yeah. All the
yeah.
toxins. So everyone definitely check out drnicole.com. Nicole, thank you for coming onto my podcast
It's a
today.
pleasure.
I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom with our listener, with our audience. For everyone listening to the Fusionary Health Podcast, if you want to learn more about the podcast and me, it's drshivani.com, Shivani. And I'm on Instagram as at dr.shivanigupta. Please share this episode with someone you love. The goal is to get this wisdom out there. Integrative health, functional health, all these natural approaches to health are the way we win and stay healthy for our longevity. We'll see you all next week for the next episode. Stay well and see you soon.